You can fix your life in one day. Yes, one day, one decision, one turning point. That's all it takes. You see, life doesn't change in decades. It changes in moments. One clear choice, one firm decision. That's the power of a single day. Now, most people think it takes years to turn things around. They wait for the perfect time. They wait for the stars to align. But the truth? Your life changes the moment you say, enough is enough. It's when you decide, I won't keep living like this. It's when you say, from today I start again. That's when everything shifts. Remember this. It doesn't take a year to change. It takes a day. The day you decide. One day you wake up and you stop making excuses. One day you choose discipline over regret. One day you stop blaming and you start owning. And that one day becomes the day your life truly begins. Because here's the secret. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's not even circumstances. It's choice. The question is, will today be that day for you? Will this be the moment, the turning point, where your story changes forever? One day, that's all it takes. Not a year, not a decade, one single day. The truth is, life does not change slowly. It changes suddenly. It changes the day you decide. You can drift for years. You can wander in circles. You can wait and wait and wait, but nothing happens until that one day. Think about it. Every great turning point in history, in business, in personal lives, it didn't take years to start. It started in a moment. It started in a single decision. One day, someone said, I've had enough. One day, someone said, from now on, it's different. One day, someone drew the line and said, no more going back. That's how lives change. Now, let me tell you something important. The danger is not in making the wrong decision. The danger is in making no decision at all. Because indecision steals years. It steals decades. It steals your life. Have you ever noticed how one choice can set a whole chain in motion? One day, you decide to wake up earlier. That choice leads to better energy. Better energy leads to better focus. Better focus leads to better results. And better results change your confidence. All from one day. One small choice. And here's the beauty. If one day can ruin your life, one day can fix it too. The day you start smoking, that changed your life. But the day you quit, that changes your life again. The day you choose laziness, that set you back. But the day you choose discipline, that moves you forward. The law is simple. One day changes everything. But here's the secret most people miss. You don't need to wait for the perfect day. You don't need a new year. You don't need Monday morning. You don't need someone else's permission. Today will do just fine, because every great life change begins the same way. With a simple declaration, from this day forward, I eat better. From this day forward, I save more. From this day forward, I live with purpose. That's how fast it happens. Now, don't confuse simple with easy. It's simple to change in one day, but it's not easy to stay there. But if you don't start, you'll never stay. If you don't begin, you'll never arrive. So ask yourself, what if today was that day? What if today you chose discipline over delay? What if today you set a new standard for your life? Here's a truth worth remembering. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time? Today. Don't underestimate today. It might look ordinary. It might feel routine. But inside it could hold the seed of your greatest breakthrough. All you need is one moment of courage, one bold decision, one refusal to go back, because life will test you. The moment you decide, distractions will show up, doubts will whisper, fear will creep in, but don't let them steal the day. Guard your decision like treasure, because it is treasure. It's the key to everything you want. And here's the final thought for this part. Your entire life doesn't need to change in one day. You need to change in one day. And once you change, everything else follows. So stand tall, take a breath, and say it with conviction. Today is the day. Not tomorrow. Not someday. today. Responsibility. That's where it begins. That's where it always begins. You can't fix your life in one day unless you decide to own it completely. Now, let me tell you something important. Responsibility is not about blame. It's not about shame. It's about power. The day you take full responsibility, you gain full power. The day you say, I am the cause of my results, you also say, I can be the cause of my new results. That is freedom. That is control. That is the beginning of change. Most people avoid responsibility. They hand it out like candy. They say, it's the government. It's my boss. It's my parents. It's the economy. But here's the truth. If you give away responsibility, you also give away power. If you hand over the blame, you hand over the solution. And that's dangerous, because then you're no longer in control of your life. You're waiting on someone else to change so your life can change. And let me tell you, that's a long wait. Now, let me tell you a little story. Years ago, I met a young man who told me, Mr. Rohn, my problem is my job. My boss doesn't respect me. The pay is low, and the company has no future. I said, that might be true, but here's the real problem. You're still there. He looked at me, surprised. I said, you see, as long as you blame the job, nothing changes. But the moment you say, I chose to stay, then you also say, I can choose to leave. Responsibility gives you options. That's the shift. Not blaming, owning. From that day forward, he made changes, and his life turned around. Here's a phrase worth remembering. You can't change the wind, but you can adjust the sails. Life will bring storms. Life will bring challenges. But storms are not the problem. Sails are the problem. And who adjusts the sails? You do. The day you take responsibility, you grab the ropes. You say, it's my boat. It's my journey. I will adjust. That's when life starts to bend in your favor. But here's the test. Taking responsibility is uncomfortable. It's easier to point the finger. It feels good to blame someone else. It takes the weight off your shoulders for a moment, but then you stay stuck. Year after year, excuse after excuse. And excuses, well, they build nothing. They solve nothing. They give nothing. Responsibility, on the other hand, builds everything. So let's make it practical. How do you take responsibility starting today? First, stop saying, I can't. Start saying, I won't. Because I can't is outside your control. But I won't is a choice. Second, look at your results, not your intentions, not your wishes, your results. If your bank account is low, own it. If your health is poor, own it. If your relationships are broken, own it. You can't change what you don't own. And ownership is the key to improvement. Third, decide what you want. Say, from this day forward, I take responsibility for building this life. Not a life by accident, not a life by excuse, but a life by design. Here's the beautiful thing about responsibility. It doesn't chain you to your past. It frees you to create a new future. Because responsibility says, I got myself here, and I can get myself out. I built this life, and I can build a better one. That's powerful. That's liberating. That's the foundation of success. So let me ask you today, will you own your life, or will you let someone else write the story? Because the clock is ticking, the years are moving, and excuses don't build futures. But responsibility builds dreams. It builds wealth. It builds health. It builds character. And once you've taken responsibility, you'll never again look at your life the same way. Because you'll know, if it's going to change, it's up to you. And that's the truth. So from this day forward, repeat these words to yourself. I am responsible. I am in charge. I own my life, and I will design it the way I choose. Say it until you believe it. And once you believe it, watch how fast your life begins to shift. Because the day you take responsibility is the day you take back your power. Now that you've taken responsibility, there's only one question left. What will you do with it? Because responsibility without direction is like having the keys to the car but no destination. You're in control. Yes, but where are you driving? Here's the truth. If you don't design your own life, chances are someone else will. And they don't always have your best interests in mind. That's why I say, don't live life by chance. Live life by design. When I was a young man, I was broke. Broke financially. Broke emotionally. Broke in spirit. I worked hard, but I had no direction. I was busy, but I wasn't effective. I was moving, but I wasn't advancing. And one day, my mentor said to me, Jim, if you don't design your life, you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they've planned for you? Not much. That was a wake-up call. It shook me. It made me realize that drifting doesn't lead to greatness. Greatness comes from choice, from design, from intention. So how do you design your own way? First, you decide what you want. Not what your neighbor wants. Not what society says you should want. But what you, in the quiet of your own heart, truly desire. Clarity is power. Unclear goals lead to unclear lives. If you want wealth, decide it. If you want health, decide it. If you want freedom, decide it. Because decision is the first act of design. Second, you create a plan. Not a perfect plan, but a plan. A plan that says, here's where I am, here's where I want to go, and here are the steps in between. Most people don't fail because they aim too high and miss. They fail because they aim too low and hit. Or worse, they don't aim at all. A plan gives you aim. It gives you a target. It turns vague wishes into real steps. Third, you adopt new disciplines. Because design without discipline is just a dream. And dreams without discipline turn into regret. If you want wealth, design a savings discipline. If you want health, design an exercise discipline. If you want wisdom, design a reading discipline. Discipline turns design into reality. Without it, nothing changes. Let me share another story. I once met a man who told me, Jim, I just want life to be easier. I said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. He laughed, but I was serious. Life doesn't get easier by chance. It gets easier when you design yourself to be stronger, smarter, more disciplined. And that happens by choice, by design. Fourth, you remove the distractions. Because design requires focus. Think about it. An architect doesn't design a building by staring out the window. He draws the plans. He sets the foundation. He focuses. Your life is no different. If you want to design it well, you must cut out the noise. Limit the trivial. Eliminate the unnecessary. Because focus is the fuel of design. Finally, you commit. You commit fully. You say, this is my life, my plan, my design. And you follow through, even when it's tough, even when it's lonely, even when nobody claps. Because remember, the reward isn't applause. The reward is a life by design, a life that reflects your choices, your values, your vision. Now, let me warn you, designing your own way isn't easy. It's tempting to copy others. It's tempting to follow the crowd. It's tempting to settle for good enough. But here's the truth. The crowd is usually wrong, and good enough is rarely fulfilling. So I challenge you. Don't copy. Create. Don't drift. Design. Don't follow. Lead yourself. Imagine this with me. You wake up 10 years from now. Will you be living a life you chose or a life you allowed? Will you be living in a house you designed or a house someone else pushed you into? Will you be working on dreams that belong to you or dreams that belong to someone else? Those questions matter, and the answers depend on today, on whether or not you take the pen and write your own script. Here's a phrase worth keeping. Don't start the year until you've finished it on paper. What does that mean? It means don't walk into the future blind. Sit down, think, design, write it out. What do you want? Who do you want to become? What will you do each day to get there? That's how you design your own way. Life is not a dress rehearsal. You don't get a second chance at today. And if you don't design it, it slips away. But if you do design it, if you choose, if you plan, if you discipline yourself, you can build something extraordinary. So don't wait. Don't drift. Don't hope it will just happen. Pick up the pen. Draw the map. Design your way. Because your future is waiting, and it's waiting for your design. Excuses. They are small. They are subtle, but they are deadly. Excuses are the bricks that build the wall between you and the life you want. Now, excuses don't come with flashing lights. They come dressed in reason. They sound logical. They sound fair, but they are thieves in disguise. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't know the right people. Maybe tomorrow. Excuses sound soft, but they make your life hard. Discipline sounds hard, but it makes your life easy. When I was young, I had 1,000 excuses. I had every reason why life wasn't fair, why success was out of reach, why it was too late for me. But then someone told me something that shocked me. They said, Jim, if you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. That cut deep because it was true. I wasn't short on opportunity. I was short on responsibility. Excuses are enemies. And the worst part is, they sound like friends. They comfort you. They let you off the hook. They make you feel safe. But safe isn't growth. Safe isn't change. Safe is a trap. The truth is, every excuse you make today plants regret for tomorrow. Regret grows quietly, but it always shows up. And when it does, it whispers, you could have, you should have, but you didn't. So how do you overcome excuses? You replace them with ownership. Take the excuse. I don't have time. Well, who has the time? Nobody. You make time. You cut. You sacrifice. Because time is never found, it's made. Take the excuse. I don't have money. Well, start where you are. Sell something. Save something. It's not the amount that matters, it's the discipline. Take the excuse. I'm too old. Let me ask, when would you like to get started? 5 years from now. You'll be older then too. Excuses fall apart the moment you shine a light on them. So here's the key. Stop repeating them. Words are powerful. When you say, I can't, your mind shuts down. When you say, how can I? Your mind opens up. Excuses close doors. Questions open them. Now, let's talk about fast change. Why is it so important to kill excuses quickly? Because change loves speed. The longer you delay, the stronger excuses grow. The more you think, the more reasons appear. And pretty soon, what was once a spark of desire becomes buried under a mountain of logic. That's why you must act before excuses take root. Make the decision. Move. Start. And don't give excuses a seat at the table. I'll tell you something I learned early. Life doesn't demand you be perfect. It only demands that you show up without excuses. So here's the challenge for today. Write down your top 3 excuses. Be honest. Don't dress them up. Don't justify them. Then, next to each excuse, write the truth. For example, excuse, I don't have time. Truth, I spend 2 hours a day on things that don't matter. Excuse, I don't know how. Truth, I haven't tried to learn yet. Excuse, I don't feel ready. Truth, nobody ever feels ready. That exercise alone can change your perspective. Remember this. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not that one group had no excuses. It's that one group refused to let excuses run the show. Excuses are common. Discipline is rare. But discipline pays. So let me say it plain. If you want to fix your life in one day, you've got to bury excuses that same day. Kill them before they kill your dream. Because excuses are like weeds. If you don't pull them out by the root, they'll grow back stronger. And the best way to kill excuses is with action. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, one step, one call, one move. That's how you silence excuses. Not with words, but with proof. Here's the promise. If you stop making excuses and start taking responsibility, your life can change faster than you ever imagined. And when that happens, you'll look back and realize it wasn't that life changed. It was that you changed. And once you change, everything changes. There's a simple truth in life. Change is not as complicated as we make it. It doesn't require magic. It doesn't require luck. It doesn't require a perfect plan. It requires one thing, one decision. And the reward of that decision is life-changing. You see, when you choose to take responsibility, when you choose to act, when you choose to stop making excuses, something remarkable happens. You begin to win. Think about it. Every success story you've ever admired began with a single moment, a decision, a commitment, a turning point. Somewhere along the way, the person said, "Enough is enough. I am done waiting. I am done blaming. I am done hesitating. Today, I act." That's the power of one day. Not a year, not a month, just one day. And in that one day, your life begins to transform. The first reward of taking action is clarity. Suddenly, the fog lifts. Suddenly, the path you couldn't see becomes visible. Suddenly, you realize that the walls weren't too high, the obstacles weren't too big, and the challenge wasn't impossible. All you needed was to start. Start today. Start now. Start where you are. The second reward is confidence. When you act, even imperfectly, your confidence grows. You see results, small ones, but enough to prove that progress is real. Progress fuels motivation. Motivation fuels action, and action leads to more action. Excuses begin to fade. Doubt begins to shrink. Fear begins to lose its grip. You start feeling alive. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Here's the third reward, empowerment. When you stop blaming circumstances, when you stop waiting for permission, you reclaim your power. You become the master of your destiny. No longer are you a passenger on the bus of life. You are the driver. And when you drive, every turn is yours to choose. No one can steal this empowerment. No one can give it to you. You earn it the moment you act. Now, let's talk about long-term rewards. Because one day of action is not just a moment, it's the seed of every future success. The person who acts today sets off a chain reaction. The first step leads to the second. The second step leads to the third. Before long, habits form. Before long, discipline grows. Before long, you are no longer the person who hesitated. You are the person who moves mountains. That's the reward. Transformation. Real, lasting transformation. But here's the catch. The reward only comes if you commit fully. Half-hearted attempts won't cut it. Wishing won't cut it. Planning endlessly won't cut it. You must do. You must act. You must decide. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if it's scary. Even if you don't feel ready. Because life rewards the doer, not the dreamer. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, a young man came to me, frustrated with life. He was stuck in a job he hated. He had debts, regrets, and a long list of excuses. He said, "I don't know where to start, Jim. I feel like I'm too far behind." I looked him in the eyes and said, "Start today. One decision, one step. That's all it takes." He hesitated. He was afraid. But then he acted. He wrote a plan. He cut unnecessary spending. He started reading and learning. He made calls. He took responsibility. And within a year, his life was unrecognizable. Not because the world changed, but because he changed, because he acted, because he decided that one day would be his turning point. That's the reward. Not a lottery ticket, not an easy path, not instant success. The reward is transformation. The reward is a life you designed. The reward is confidence, empowerment, and clarity. The reward is becoming the person you always wanted to be. Now, here's a truth that will set you free. You can wake up tomorrow morning and do nothing. You can wait another year and blame circumstances. Or you can decide today, because one day is all it takes. One day to shift your thinking. One day to act with purpose. One day to turn your regrets into progress. It's not complicated. It's simple. It's profound. Here's how you claim this reward. 1. Decide. Right now. 2. Take ownership of every part of your life. 3. Identify what's holding you back. 4. Eliminate excuses. 5. Take one concrete step today, no matter how small. Do this. And I promise you, the momentum begins. And here's the beauty. Once you start, the reward compounds. One day turns into a week turns into a month turns into a year, and before you know it, you are not the same person. Your life is not the same life. Your possibilities are endless. The transformation doesn't happen by magic. It happens because you made a decision and followed through. So ask yourself this question. Do you want to continue living by chance, waiting for a miracle? Or do you want to live by design, creating a life that reflects your potential? The answer is simple. Because life does not wait. Opportunities do not wait. Your dream does not wait. But the moment you act, everything begins. Remember, it's not the past that defines you. It's not luck. It's not other people. It's this day. It's this decision. It's this moment. And if you choose to act today, the reward will be more than you imagined, more than you hoped for, more than you dreamed. You can fix your life in one day. Yes, one day, one decision, one turning point. And the reward? A transformed life. Your future begins today. Choose wisely, act boldly, and watch your life change in ways you never thought possible.